Welcome back to episode 142 of the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. My name is Josh. I'm here with Troy. What a complete gong show to get this show rolling, Troy.
We have been, I don't know, cursed the last 4 episodes maybe. Nothing's going right. Audio's all crap. We just had to restart twice. And now, but we didn't get very far into it, so that's good. I'm going to talk a skipper's loss, so we're no longer number one. What a terrible weekend.
Yeah, what happened? I haven't even talked to you all weekend. So you guys played Hill Murray yesterday. Were they number 2 at the time?
Yep, they're number 2. They came out and we took the lead. I think we were up 1-0, and then it was 3-1 them, 3-2, 3-3. Then they got 2 more goals and they won 5-3, but they were the better team. They outplayed us. So lesson learned, I guess, for next time.
Well, the road to a state championship doesn't mean it's a smooth road, Troy.
Yeah.
You got to deal with some adversity.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd rather it happen December 9th than February 15th at the state tournament or whatever those dates are.
We had a hockey tournament this weekend for my daughter. It was in Owatonna, which is just about 50 miles from where we live. And it was that perfect distance where it's not far enough to stay in a hotel, but it really stinks driving. So yesterday we had 2 games, of course, like they always do. One was at 9 a.m. And the next one was at 6:30 p.m. So of course we came home. But then I'm driving home last night, the 4th now one-way trip back from our house to Owatonna. I'm like, gosh, we drove 200 miles today just for hockey games. So it was a fun tournament though. Won 1 game, lost 3. But yeah, not a very successful weekend on the ice for us, or a successful weekend starting our show. But hey, hopefully things will get better from here on out. They can't get any worse, Troy.
No kidding.
One quick reminder before we get started is that the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast is a Patreon podcast. That means we rely on support from listeners like yourself to help us cover our show expenses, produce hopefully more and better hockey card content, and to fund initiatives, even in a small way, to grow the hockey card hobby. Right now, you can join our $1.99 support level tier, just like on a $1.99 cards, be one of the first 199 supporters of our show, and help us out. Plus, get access to our Gong Show Discord server and join our daily conversation with everyone else in the great community there. Super easy to do. There's a link in the show description for whatever podcast app you might be listening to us on, or in the description in YouTube. You go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, and click on the Become a Patron link at the top of the page. If you want, go to the Patreon website directly, patreon.com, and search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. And then finally, in our TikTok and Instagram profile, there's a link in our link tree there. All right, buddy, you ready to get this rolling? Ready with the
All right, on today's show, yeah, let's go. It's a Gong Show. On today's show, we begin with the almost greatest NHL player to wear number 42. Then it's off to Who's Hot and the Almighty Struggle Bus. Next, it's Hobby News, followed by a segment looking at the question, are the new Young Guns parallels of success? We then go to new product releases, and we end the show with the Gong Show mailbag and personal pickups. All right, Josh, here we go. Previously, we looked at the greatest NHL player that wore the number that matched our episode number. We ran through all the numbers, so now we are looking at the almost greatest NHL player to wear each number from the runners up in the Hockey Writers' Greatest NHL Player to Wear Each Number article. The almost greatest NHL player to wear number 42 per the nominees in the Hockey Writers' Greatest NHL Player to Wear Each Number article, and selected by me, is Sergei Makarov. I, for the longest time, want to say Makarov, and I'm like, nope, I'm going to watch some videos, and it's just like Cale Makar, but it's Makarov. So I got that one down.
Yeah, the notes you had like Cale Makar, and I'm like, I wonder if he means like a player or if he's talking about the name pronunciation. I'm like,
no, it's all about name. I would never put notes about a player, about their skill. I always have to put down what about how to say their name. I'm shell shocked by it. Oh man. So it's funny. Such a Gong Show. I put it the wrong picture even. So this is just working out fantastic if you're on YouTube. All right, here we go. Sergei Makarov. The other nominees at number 42 were Tyler Bozak and Robert Esch. So not the strongest class at the old 42. Actually, well, Makarov is pretty good. But as a reminder, the greatest to wear number 42 was David Backes. All right, Josh. Makarov, he's a right winger from Chelyabinsk, Soviet Union, we'll go with. I don't know if that's right.
Chelyabinsk? Yeah, something like that.
Chelyabinsk, something like that, somewhere in the Soviet Union. Makarov was selected 231st overall in the 1983 NHL entry draft by the Calgary Flames. Makarov played in 424 regular season NHL games over a 7-season NHL career. Makarov played his first 4 seasons with the Calgary Flames. He then played 2 seasons with the San Jose Sharks before ending his career with a short 4-game stint with the Dallas Stars. Now, Josh, you just heard how many games he played and what teams. For his awards and accomplishments, Josh, he is in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, Troy. I am all sorts of confused right now.
Yep.
I'm completely baffled.
I know. We will get to it. There's some more stuff coming up. But yes, he is in the Hall of Fame. He was the 1980-1990 Calder winner. And of course, he was on the 1989-90 All-Rookie team. For his career in the NHL, he had 134 goals, 250 assists for 384 points. Makarov made the playoffs in 4 of his 7 NHL seasons, compiling 12 goals, 11 assists for 23 points in 34 NHL playoff games played. Now, if you're on YouTube, here's the original picture I was going to start with, but we'll just switch it to here. The best season of his NHL career from a point standpoint was his 1989-90 season, where Makarov had 24 goals, 62 assists for 86 points in 80 games played with the Flames. Makarov is a very interesting player from a career perspective. As you heard, and I mentioned to Josh when I read off his NHL stats, he did not play that long in the NHL, only 7 seasons. However, Makarov's entire body of work and his huge success as part of the Soviet Union hockey teams was also taken in consideration when he was elected into the Hockey Hall of Fame. Now I got to find my sweet Russian picture. So if you're watching on YouTube, now I got him in the CCP outfit.
CCP.
CCP. Makarov became a highly decorated member of the Soviet national team and his club team, Soviet Red Army, where he won the, here we go, Zvezda Trophy as the top scorer in the Soviet League 9 times. He played 13 seasons in the Soviet League, the last 11 with the Red Army, finishing with 710 points, 322 goals, 388 assists in 519 games, and was named the league's most valuable player 3 times. As a member of the Soviet Union national team, Makarov won 2 gold medals and a silver medal at the Olympics. In addition, he also won 8 gold medals, 1 silver, and 2 bronze medals at the World Championships. So now we're getting to see the whole picture of him. And I know the article or the segment that they wrote, the Hockey Writers thing, says the greatest, I think it was the greatest NHL player to wear, but we're kind of cheating. We're kind of using his international play and Soviet Union team stuff because the Hockey Hall of Fame did. So I figured it's good enough for us.
Yeah, maybe it was Slim Pickens at number 42.
Yeah.
So is Soviet or the Red Army team, is that a KHL team?
No, that was so back in the 80s when it was communist, the Red Army team was like the team of it was the Soviet national team. They're called the Red Army team under the guys that these guys were in the army, but they weren't. They were just there to play hockey, but they were technically in the army, and they were a pro hockey team basically. And they would go on tour, or they obviously they'd win Olympics. Lost the U.S. in 80, right? That's the Miracle on Ice. That's Soviet Red Army team. So that's kind of what the Red Army team is.
But so when you're talking Soviet League, is that then what became the KHL?
It might have been. I don't know. They probably had previous leagues, and it probably did morph into the KHL at some point.
Okay, now in today's current climate, do you think there's any chance a Russian player's KHL experience gets factored into the? I don't either.
I don't. But yeah, because now we truly do know, or I should say this. We're about 99% sure the NHL is the best players in the world. Where back in the 80s, that wasn't the case. Yeah. The Soviet team, they came over and beat the NHL teams at times, and they also got beat. But there was definitely good hockey players in Russia then, and there still is now. But I think now, yeah, you'll never have this. I
Gotcha.
don't think. All right, Makarov was an elite sniper, and while he had a short career in the NHL, remember joining the NHL at age 31, he was in the top 10 of shooting percentage in 3 of his 7 NHL seasons. In fact, his career shooting percentage of around 22% is one of the best ever. He also averaged 0.9 points per game, which is pretty impressive for joining the league so late in his hockey career. He was truly a gifted offensive player with tremendous offensive toolkit. His skating, stick handling, passing, and shooting were all elite. And if you really want to see this, go out to YouTube, look for his name, and find his when he was playing in Russia or with the Soviet national team. It's pretty crazy watching all those old footages and how they would just circle and circle until they found the right entry point and then go in, and they were something else. It was pretty sweet
Well,
watching this
another thing
old.
too about this that we learned in the past year with Andrei Kuzmenko is so he won the Calder at 31. That's not possible anymore.
Oh, we're gonna get to this. We're gonna get
Okay.
to this. You're jumping fun facts. We got
Sorry,
tons of
sorry,
stuff
sorry.
on him. Yeah.
Sorry, sorry.
Good. No, that's good. You used your brain and inferred what's gonna come up. Currently, most recent information I could find on Makarov states that he is currently a player agent that helps young Russian players who want to pursue a North American hockey career. All right, Josh, that's a little bio. Now the fun facts. So Makarov, together with Igor Larionov and Vladimir Krutov, formed the KLM line, which was considered one of the most talented and feared lines ever to play hockey. Now, here's an interesting fact. In 1989, Makarov was actually allowed by the Soviet Union to play in the NHL. They actually gave him permission. I think that's right when the wall came down and all
Yeah.
that stuff. Because I think I was over in Russia in like 90, 91, somewhere in there playing hockey, and it was a little more opened up. So I'm guessing this was part of that whole reconciling with the West or whatever they were trying to do. Perestroika, is that the word? Am I going outside my comfort zone here? I don't know.
It sounds
But
like a big word. I
sounds like
like
a
it.
big word. Hopefully it is what I mean and not something else. But all right, Makarov in his first NHL game against the Detroit Red Wings on October 5th, 1989. Makarov scored 1 goal and assisted on 2 others. And then finally, Josh, here's what you were getting at. Makarov won the Calder Trophy as a Rookie of the Year at the age of 31. And as a result, the rules were changed, and now only players under 26 qualify for the award. This is now known as the Makarov rule. And I was reading about like why and it was because, again, the pro hockey thing. Like, he's been a pro for about 11, 12 years if you
Sure.
consider his Russia playing time. So they were kind of saying, well, we want to give it to a younger guy, but they can't be, or to a guy probably more familiar with American and Canadian audiences, but they didn't. So they made this rule, and that's where
Yeah.
we're at. Our boy Kuzmenko can't get his Calder Trophy. All right, for his rookie card, bring a picture up here. 1990 Upper Deck, number 123. If you're watching on YouTube, I got it up on the screen. PSA 10 pop of this card is 86 with a gem rate of 68%. This card recently sold via eBay, verified in Terapeak on November 26th of this year for $32.99 US. The all-time high for this card was $160 US in 2018. Thank you, Card Letter.
How many collectors do you think have value boxes
This thing
with this
is,
a Hall of Famer's rookie card
yeah.
that they have no clue right now? And it was a low number card too. It wasn't even part of the high number series.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, we learned a lot.
Yep, there we go.
That was a weird one. I like that though. 'Cause
Believe me,
when you started,
researching it was weird because I'm like, I don't know if this guy really qualifies for this segment, but I'm like, I'm gonna run with it because it was interesting.
he played 3 games and is in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to who's hot in the struggle bus. It's time to review who's hot for week 9 in the NHL season, where we take a look or an inside look over the past week at the players stuffing up the score sheet and others where the struggle is real, Troy.
Yep.
Like we always do, we're going to start with who's hot. And I had the first pick this week. I selected Jack Eichel, Troy. Over the past
All
2
right.
weeks, Eichel has 4 goals, 7 assists for 11 points for the defending Stanley Cup champion Las Vegas Golden Knights. His team's hot as well. 6-1 over that span too. Eichel also has points in 6 straight games, brings his 23-24 season totals to 12 goals, 19 assists for 31 points in 28 games played. That gives him a current pace for the year for 35 goals and 56 assists, which would project to 91 points. And if he gets there, Troy, that would be a career high for Eichel.
Mm.
The highest point total to date for Eichel's 8-year career was in 2018-19 with Buffalo, where he had 82 points with 28 goals in 77 games played. The most goals Eichel has scored in a season was 2019-20, where he had 36 goals. So he's doing pretty good to start the year. Golden Knights, as I mentioned, are doing good as well. They are the top team in the NHL with 41 points in 28 games played with an 18-5-5 record. Eichel's 31 points leads his team, and his 12 goals is tied for the team lead with Jonathan Marchessault and William Karlsson. He has 120 shots for the Golden Knights, which leads the team in shots as well. Second, there is Marchessault with 88, so he's shooting the puck a lot. Still only 27 years old, Troy. Eichel is leading the defending Cup champs in scoring. They also have the best record in the league, so they look like a prime candidate to repeat. Seems like a guy like this should have some hobby relevancy, and you think would be a hobby star, right?
Nope.
Well, let's check and see. Jack Eichel is a 2015 Young Guns. His PSA 10 pop 1,102 with a 49% GemRate, last sold for $110 on December 7th. That's down 10% in the past 2 weeks and down 11% in the past month. So off to the best start in your career. You just won the Stanley Cup and you're the number 1 team in the league. Makes little to no sense. So it kind of begs a question. He's what's his 9th year now?
Yep.
Given is he just one of these guys like Kucherov or Stamkos or that is just never going to click at this point? Do you think?
I don't think so. It's like he's been one of those guys. He's always on the cusp of being that star. Talk about him every year. He's never gotten to 100 points. What's the highest goal total? I don't think he's ever hit. Has he hit 40?
36.
Yeah, he's never hit 40. He's still young, but he's getting in, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th year of his career, and I don't see it. I think he's kind of missed the boat on becoming a hobby relevant superstar.
Yeah, probably an NHL star, but just not a hobby star.
Yep.
Kind of there is a difference there.
Yep.
Okay, you got the next guy?
Yeah, before I get to my guy, it's funny. I just got a pop-up on my phone that said Minnesota 3, Las Vegas 0. I was like, oh, the Wild just beat the Knights. That's awesome. So I clicked on it. Nope. That was the Vikings score.
I
The
saw
Vikings 3-0. What a boring game. Holy cow. But
I was looking at notifications too, and we were having like computer problems galore.
Yeah.
And it was about to start the 4th quarter, and they said it was like the first time in maybe NHL history or first time in a long time that the 4th quarter was starting with a 0-0 score. So
Nice.
yeah.
Well, congrats Vikings, I guess. But I got excited for a second that the North Stars, that the Wild actually won or beat them, but I was way off. All right, here's my guy, Josh. So I have to show some love for our boy Stuart Skinnard. He's kind of had a rough season to start for our boy. I can't remember if he actually made one of the first struggle buses or if it was he was just part of the whole Oilers team that they were talking about. But so
Pretty
Skinner,
sure he was on the struggle bus.
I think he was
at least
too.
once.
I think it was too. So Skinner obviously hasn't had the greatest season so far. We all know about Edmonton's struggles over the first couple of months of the season. However, Edmonton has now shown that they can play hockey and have started to win some games. In fact, Edmonton has won their last 6 games as of when I wrote this, which was a day or so ago. So I don't know if they played today. I didn't look. Skinner has definitely been doing his part lately for the Oilers. Over the past 2 weeks, Skinner has 5 wins, 0 losses, with a 2.17 goals against and a .919 save percentage. On the season, Skinner's stats are still not the greatest, but they are improving. So over the NHL season this year, Skinner has 10 wins, 7 losses, 1 overtime loss with a 3.03 goals against average and a .888 save percentage. So it's kind of funny that previously most of the talk around the league and the Oilers, rightfully, it was that Edmonton needs to figure out their goalie situation and maybe make some moves on that front. Goalies, defense, whatever. Now with Skinner playing so well, I started looking at Edmonton beat writers, looking at NHL writers around the league. Now we are starting to hear that the Oilers now need to be mindful of not overplaying Skinner, as he didn't look as good against the Wild on December 8th as he had in the previous 4 games. So we know the days of goalies playing 90% of the games are in the past for now. I don't know if that's ever coming back. I think it'll be really interesting what the Oilers do with Skinner and how they're going to manage him, because Edmonton needs all the goaltending they can get. And if this is your hot guy, I'd probably run him into the ground, because they just can't afford to have losing streaks. They're already fifth, sixth in the division they're in, if I remember right. They can't keep getting those losing streaks, or else they're not going to make the playoffs.
It seems like this is sort of the issue with modern goaltending, though, where not for every guy, but they're so streaky.
Yep.
It's like if you're breathing a sigh of relief and thinking, okay, Skinner's back, we got this. Would you be shocked if 2 weeks from now he's like hasn't won in 6 games and has led in 3,000 goals and can't remember which way to put his helmet on? I mean, it's like I think it'd be really tough to be a GM and trying to figure out. I just don't feel like any goalie is really dominant anymore.
No, it seems like the play. We talked about this last year, and there's articles all over the analytics people. Seems like the skaters are ahead of the goalies right now. Goaltending is definitely taking a dip. So we'll see. Yeah. No one really knows the reason. There's a lot of speculation on what it is, but we'll just have to keep watching that trend. I don't know what goal scoring is this year. I know it was a lot in the first month. I don't know if it's still on record pace or if it is a record pace or what.
I checked I want to say like a week or two ago, and it was a whisker ahead of last year.
Okay.
Not by much. Like, okay. I want to say 1/100th of a goal. Like if it was 3.57 goals per game per team last year, it was like 3.58 this year.
Okay. All right. That seems about right. All right. Skinner, 20. Whoa, that's a little zoomed in for my YouTube people. Let's zoom that out. Skinner is a 2020 Young Guns. His PSA 10 has a pop of 1,179 with a gem rate of a paltry 76%. December sales have been in the 45 to 60 US dollar range. Early October sales of this card are around 60 to 75 US dollars, so it's definitely trended down. And we'll see where it falls. It's going to matter where he goes. If he just burn him into the ground or he's streaky again, it'll probably just stay around 45 to $60.
One of the better 2020 Young Gun photos.
Yeah, definitely.
Even though it was like pre-pandemic, a lot of these guys, as we've said before, have like JCPenney studio shots, and this is in the net.
The headshots.
I wonder, was he extended series or is he series? I can't. What's the number?
496.
That would have been series 2, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. All right, the last guy this week for Who's Hot Troy, Matthew Barzal, the 26-year-old forward for your New York Islanders, having a heck of a couple weeks, pouring in 4 goals, adding 8 assists for 12 points in his last 5 games played. That's pretty good.
Yep.
Currently, in his 7th NHL season, he now has 9 goals, 19 assists for 28 points in 25 games played. So that puts him at a pace this year for 30 goals, 62 assists, 92 points, which would be career highs. Barzal's best season was actually his rookie year in 2017-18, where he had 22 goals, 63 assists for 85 points in 82 games played. And that was also his only season, Troy, with more than 20 goals, so not much of a goal scorer.
Yep.
Over his career, he's close to a point per game player, 390 points in 445 games played, 0.88 points per game. Again, not much of a goal scorer, averaging about 0.26 goals per game over his career. Now, what seems to be clicking this year is he's really developed a chemistry with Bo Horvat. Don't you love this photo? If you're watching,
I do. I actually was just staring at the photography guy, like smiling.
Oh yeah, he's like smiling. Yeah.
I was just like, what is he thinking about? I saw, I'm gonna go off on a tangent for a sec. I saw this. It was an Instagram reel or something where this guy looks at baseball cards and then he narrows down and he finds the exact game and the exact play on video of where the card or when the card was shot of the photo. It's really fun
Really?
to yeah, it's pretty cool to watch.
Gosh, how do you do that?
He starts with the jersey and then he knows the jersey combination. And then there's like a site that tracks what jersey every team wore on a day, and
Wow.
he can narrow it down. That's usually the first way he narrows it down. Sometimes he has to look in the crowd to figure out who they're playing by seeing other teams' jerseys and or other like what fans are wearing, and
Yeah.
it's pretty interesting. It's pretty cool how he gets there.
Okay, so I was talking about the chemistry that he's
Yeah.
developed with Bo Horvat. So last year, I think we're on the trade deadline. The Islanders traded for Bo Horvat, who came over and then had to adjust to a new team, of course. But that's when Barzal had the knee injury,
Hmm.
so they didn't really get the time to put in the work to develop that chemistry last year. So this season, they seem to be playing very well off each other. Horvat is on a pace for his career best in points production as well. So they've been playing. It's Barzal on the Isles top line along with Horvat and Anders Lee. Anders Lee, is he an Edina kid?
Yes, I know. I don't know if it's exactly Edina, but he's from the Twin Cities.
Okay. Also on the first power play unit, as you'd expect. But and so now kind of transitioning to the hobby, he's off to the best start of his career. He's probably been the most known guy on the Islanders. To me, there's kind of two hobby issues with Matthew Barzal. The first one, as we've talked about, not a big goal scorer, more of a setup or assist guy. And of course, it's the goal scorers that get the hobby love.
Yep.
And then the second thing, Troy, is who spells Matthew with one T?
Yeah, he
How
does.
many how many sales have been cost by people, do you think, spelling his name?
Oh my god, this guy would be perfect for the was it Fat Fingers? I don't know what it is. Search eBay Fat Fingers,
Oh,
and you can
yeah,
find
what
that
was the name
one
of that
site.
site?
You can look
Yeah.
up names, and it will find every combination and try to find you listings that maybe are a little bit cheaper because people misspelled it. And just so you know, Ottersley is Edina. You were right.
Mhm. Yeah, so Matt with 1 T Barzal, Troy.
There
It's
we
a
go.
2016 Young Guns. His PSA 10 has a pop of 1,323, 87% gem rate.
Oh
Okay, I
boy.
found a third proper problem.
Yep.
You know what would be depressing, Troy? Submitting a raw Barzal Young Guns and coming back with like a PSA 8.
It's worth 5 cents.
87%. That has to be the highest, right? Have we seen
Yeah,
anything even that?
I don't think I've ever seen 90 yet. So that has to be the highest.
Were they wire cut? Too
You
soon?
know, don't start that again.
Too soon.
Too soon.
Anyways, his Young Guns PSA 10 last sold for 68 US dollars on December 8th.
That's higher than I
Up
thought.
yeah,
I
up
would have
39% in the past 2 weeks and up 29% the past month. So Matthew Barzal is on a 40% Young Guns run, and Jack Eichel is trending to 0.
Yep.
That's funny how this hobby works sometimes, isn't it? Okay. The Arsha blows, Troy. The struggle bus is back for another week, and we got a couple of, I think, deserving candidates to ride the struggle bus. The first one,
Well,
oh boy,
I won't say the name. I don't want to take your thunder, but every time I see this guy's name, I get pained, like stomach pains from this guy.
it's the P to the L to the D, Troy.
Yeah, the
Pierre-Luc
PLD.
Dubois. So over the past month, his LA Kings have been pretty awesome.
Yep.
They're 8-2-1. Now, of course, PLD was their big offseason acquisition. He's not so hot.
Nope.
Over the same 11 game span, he's got a goal and 2 assists for 3 points. Bringing him up to in the season, Troy, 5 goals, 6 assists for 11 points in 24 games played. So that puts him on an 82 game pace of 17 goals and 38 points. So
Mm.
I can't imagine that's what Kings fans were counting on when that deal went down this past summer. So if you all recall, at the end of June, the Jets traded PLD to the Kings in a signing trade for Rasmus Kupari, Gabe Velarde, and Alex Iafallo. Dubois then he had signed in the sign and trade an 8-year, $64 million contract, which of course works out to be about $8 million annually. So this doesn't just happen to the Wild, Troy, where we sign players to $10 million a year and then they never
No,
score again.
I just did the math. It works out if he got 38 points this year, he would make or he would it would cost $210,526 per point that the Kings would pay him this year
Rough.
for the $8 million. Ooh,
So, like, I think we both do the same thing in these segments when you give the stats, but then you want to get kind of a flavor for what's going on. Like, what are the beat writers saying? What are the
yeah.
blogs saying about the players? And so I did like a Google News search for PLD here. And here's like the first headline I see from a Montreal Canadiens. It's either a site or a blog, something like that. It's Canadians. Pierre-Luc Dubois, a potential dodge bullet.
Yep.
Because apparently Montreal was heavy in the mix this past summer to acquire PLD, and of course they're saying now maybe they're not super sad that they lost out in that
Yeah.
effort. So last season, Dubois Troy finished with 27 goals, 36 assists for 63 points in 73 games played, which was his best seasons points wise of his career. His 27 goals last year were one behind his career high of 28, which was set in 2021-22. So he had been kind of on an uptick the last couple years in Winnipeg, but now has kind of had a Hubertoian slide here, about 50% less point production
Mhm.
piecing, I guess, for the season. And of course, Troy, there's already rumblings about the
Oh, geez.
consistency of his effort and his involvement in games. So
That was before he got traded too, or right before he signed
that's
as a
a
free agent. That was a
yeah.
knock on him the whole time.
Oh yeah, and then you remember after the trade, there was about 6 solid weeks of articles about the new PLD.
Yes, the new one.
He's so happy, he's so engaged, he's gonna put everything behind him. Yeah. What did they say? Like if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, it's a something, right?
Yeah, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me, or no, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. There
Shame
we
on me. There you go.
go.
Let's let's just go through every so if things don't pick up, knowing this guy's history too, I expect the
Yeah,
rumblings to get even stronger, which always seemed to happen to the number. He's the number 3 overall pick in the 2016 draft, and same thing happened in Columbus, and then of course it flamed out in
yeah.
Winnipeg. But yeah, when you're spending $8 million a year and he's pacing for 17 goals, that's not good.
No, not good.
Pierre-Luc Dubois is a 2017 Young Guns PSA 10 pop 434, has a 48% gem rate. Last sold for $29 on December
Oh,
8th. $29.
yikes.
Down 43% in the past month and 41% over the past 3 months.
Makes sense.
Now your guy kind of surprised me. So I'm just going to start. I'm not
Yeah,
going to give it away,
it's
but I was like, man, I don't know if this guy's ever been even close to the struggle.
yeah. And you'll see. I kind of yeah. But I think he deserves it. Maybe I could have found someone struggling more, but I saw the name and what his points were. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that looks like a struggle bus candidate. So we'll put him on there just for now. Keep his seat warm, I guess. So for the struggle bus, I'm going with a guy that obviously, kind of as you mentioned, he's been very good this year up until the past couple of weeks. It's this guy, Josh, Braden Point. And I put a little note here. I'm not sure he will stay on the bus for very long, but for now, he's got a seat. It's there. He can take it, hang out with some people for a while, and then jump off. But for the past 2 weeks, Braden Point has 1 goal, 1 assist for 2 points in 8 games played. In fact, before his assist against Seattle on December 9th, Point had 5 straight games of no points. Boy, it's really weird having a guy's last name be Point and then talking hockey stats with Point all the time. I feel like
Wait a
I'm
minute, I'm
talking.
confused. So are we talking Ovechkin? That's right.
Shots fired at Ovi. Yeah, Ovi's ooh. All right, our boy. On the season, before this recent 8 game struggle, Braden Point had 11 goals and 18 assists for 29 points in 21 games played. So there, over a point per game player. However, the past 2 weeks have been an obvious struggle. Point is coming off a 95 point season. He's still on pace for 88 points this season, even though he's only scored 2 points in the last 8 games. He's still on pace for 88 points. And it's not like Tampa Bay has been tearing up the league. They've been kind of a middling team this season, currently in 5th place in the Atlantic. It's always these articles on them, kind of, I don't know what's going on over there. People getting testy with some of the things going on. However, having points struggle is definitely a concern. And part of the reason that Tampa Bay is only 3-5 in the past 2 weeks. So to get going, they need him to get going also, because he's one of the top guys. So I don't think he'll be here long, but he's definitely found a nice little seat on the struggle bus. Braden Point, man, Gong Show with the pictures. Sorry, YouTube people. Braden Point is a 2016 Young Guns. PSA 10 pop is 1,040 with a gem rate of 61%. Recent sales have been in the $80 to $90 US range. And the card has really generally traded in that range since the start of the season. Hasn't went up, or it goes up and down a little bit, plus or minus $5 from that range. And I had a great thought. I lost it. So I'll let you shock.
I don't have great thoughts. So that's
it's point. Yeah. Cause I mean, he's one of the guys, you look at his career numbers, he's kind of streaky. He hits these little like mid, 40, 50 point season, and boom, 90 some. And it's so definitely last year was a good year. And he was off to a torrid pace. He's still off to a good start overall. I mean, he's still on pace for 88, but needs some more production.
I don't have a name for it, but I kind of put him in a bucket with like Nico Rantanen as guys that seem to have always like a lot of goals, but nobody cares.
Yeah.
Which is really weird because everyone says, well, or the prevailing thought is the hobby only cares about goals. But, yeah. All right. Week 9, Troy, of Who's Hot in the Struggle Bus. We put Jack Eichel, Stuart Skinner.
Yep.
Must have been shocked. He's like, wait a minute. I'm on the Struggle Bus?
Yeah, you want to know where the Struggle Bus was. He's like, hey.
And Matthew with 1 T Barzal in Who's Hot. And then keeping seats warm on the Struggle Bus this week are PLD and your guy, Braden Point.
There we go.
Got to make a quick mention for Gongshow sponsor, Slab Sharks. Thank them very, very much for their support of our show. The current Slab Sharks weekly eBay auction is live. More than 1,500 cards, Troy, in this week's auction to choose from.
Wow.
Be sure to head to slabsharks.com for a link to the auction to place your bids. I did spend some time on Saturday looking through the auction. Here's a few, Troy, of cards that stood out to me that are available for bids right now. Okay, so we're going to go play a game. I'm going to tell you the 5 cards I like, and you just tell me if you like all 5.
Okay.
You agree or disagree with that these are cool cards?
Yes.
Or man, they're all cool cards, but a card that you would be interested in. Because I want to see like if we're on the same wavelength here. First one was a 2005-06 SP Authentic Alexander Ovechkin. Ever heard of him?
I have.
A Future Watch Auto Patch, a flop.
Flop.
Out of 100. BGS 8.510. Kind of a cool card.
Yeah, I like this card. I like the 1, 2, 3 colors, 3-color patch, OV. Nice signature, really nice signature. It's got the 8 on there too. I like this card.
It looks different from a lot of flops too.
Yeah. Now, when I say I like it, I probably wouldn't go buy it, but I like it.
There you go. Next one, Troy. 2023-24 Upper Deck. Luke Hughes. Brother Luke. Young Guns High Gloss out of 10. Big card. Really big.
Yeah, I like this. I think it looks cool with the gold.
I love those jersey uniforms too.
Yeah.
Kind of a sucker for simplicity. Next one, Troy. 2020 SP Legends Signature Edition Steve Yzerman all-time Future Watch Auto out of 49 PSA 9.
Take all my monies. I'd buy this in a heartbeat.
His auto is wild in a cool way. Like,
this is awesome.
I like his auto.
This card hits all the feels. It's the all-time Future Watch from one of my favorite sets ever. This is a cool card.
Next card is a 2014-15 SP Authentic David Pastrnak Future Watch Auto out of 999 BGS 9.510.
You might want to call Mark about this one.
Yeah.
See if he has any interest.
Mark for my car post. Big pasta. Do you like Pasta's auto? I kind of
like it. I love it.
The 88 in the middle of the
I like that. I like anything that's like unique.
Mm-hmm. Last one, Troy. My guy, Timmy Stu. 2020-21 the Cup. Tim Stutzla. Emblems of Endorsements. RPA out of 15. You like this one? I like the patches.
Fantastic patch. Hate the new signature. Plus, I'm starting to not like him. There's so many stories about how he's kind of
Well, we heard stories at the expo that
yeah, he's
kind of
kind of
crushed my.
kind
Well,
of not
he's
a
a whiny butt. Is that was that
yeah,
the
kind
kind
of
of?
a little bit of a baby. It sounds like.
Come on, Timmy Stew. Not good. Not good. Okay, so of all the ones I picked, I assume the Iserman is
Yes, by far.
the bullet.
Yep.
I think that's my favorite too. Tons and tons of good cards, of course, in this week's auction. And if you're a Canadian hockey cards collector and are looking to move some cards, would like a hassle-free way to do it, we'd strongly recommend looking at Slabshark's eBay consignment services. They do all the work. You just send them your cards or drop them off at a show, and they literally do all the rest. Plus, your cards get featured, and they're very popular and growing. Like we said, 1,500 cards, guys.
Hmm.
Weekly auctions that are promoted to both Canadian and US hockey card collectors. You don't have to worry about all that shipping and
Customs.
duties,
Yeah.
which is it's kind of like one of those words that what's dual use when you say duties, because it's actually a tax you have to pay.
Yep.
And dealing shipping between the US and Canada is poopy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like duty in that regard too. Check out slabsharks.com for complete consignment information, including payout rates, and to start consigning your cards with them today. Happy news!
Hobby news.
Well, we're a little late on this, but I always like to look at the November grading recap. We're not the biggest grading guys. We got to keep
Nope.
tabs, Troy, and what's going
Nope.
on. So we're all in the know here. And every month, GemRate comes out with their grading recap. They've also got some really cool tools that I think you'll really like that we'll probably talk about on a later show. They're working on universal pop reports for very specific sets. I think they have like 3 hockey card sets. So you can go into like 1979 OPG, I think it's 1985 OPG, and 1966 tops. I don't know why they picked those
Mhm.
years, but
Mm.
and see all the population between all the grading companies. That's kind of cool.
That's
And then
cool.
they have like I think they went off of PWCC's iconic 100 cards list, and they have like an iconic tracker
Okay.
tracking all the grading for the presumably or arguably the 100 most iconic cards in the hobby. So they're kind of working and innovating on some cool data over at GemRate. Love to see that. But let's take a look at November. So first of all, we're gonna look at total cards graded. Take a big picture view. Start at 10,000 feet, and then we're gonna get into the weeds, Troy. From there, PSA shocker led the way again with 1.13 million cards graded in total. That was 5% down over October, but 14% up year over year. It's kind of a trend this
Yep.
whole month, down month over month, up year over year. CGC came in at second in total with 121,000. Beckett or 165,000. SGC 121,000, and then Beckett in fourth place, 60,000 cards graded. All 4 companies again were down compared to the prior month in October, but we're up year over year. Okay, now just looking at sports cards graded. Gosh, it's amazing how many Pokemon cards.
Pokemon or TGC game. That's CG's. Wow, I so hate the
Trading
3-letter
card games.
acronyms. Yes, trading card games.
CG, yeah. Well, you'd have to assume, and this is completely 2 guys that don't know what we're talking about, which is basically our whole show here. But that 80% of that has to be Pokemon, right? I mean, I can't imagine like Magic is super huge.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a little bit of that. The new Disney one that came out. Nothing like
Lorcana or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
nothing like Pokemon. And if you actually looked at the first slide at the bottom, it says CGC TGC appears to have received a material boost in grading due to its Omega Mystery Box partnership. I'm guessing that's Pokemon, but I will look it up while you
Yeah.
talk.
Okay, for us sports scene folks, looking at total sports cards graded, PSA led the way, of course, with 573,000 cards. So again, about half of their total are just sports. The other half TCG. Sports cards are down 11% from October, but up 5% year over year. SGC is second, right? So overall, CGC is second, but they grade an overwhelmingly amount, or 100. What would that be? 142,000 out of the 165,000 were trading card games. So very little
Hmm.
sports cards. So SGC is the second largest volume of sports card grader. 102,000, down 8% from October, up 55% year over year. They're doing a lot of deals again with like
Yep.
Bauman Chrome and stuff like that. So doesn't surprise me there. Beckett graded 32,000 sports cards. So Beckett grades 30% the cards SCG does.
Yep.
SGC. Yeah, I'm all tied up about too many acronyms, guys.
Yeah. I mean, Beckett. Why are they? Is that Beckett's new emblem? Not that or new logo? I thought they changed that. Does that what it is now? Never mind. That's probably dumb.
I think it's like a year old, something like that. And then CGC Poultry 23,000 sports cards graded. Okay, so let's get now into hockey. Now this one surprised me a little bit. So PSA 26,800 hockey cards graded in November, up 13% over October. That makes sense to me because Series 1 came out in October, so you're
Yep.
going to see an influx of young guns in particular that get graded. The second most graded cards was SGC, only 2,700, down 24%. But Beckett was third at 2,000. So SGC grades more hockey cards than Beckett.
That's pretty crazy. Like, because Beckett's got a history in hockey. They were number one in hockey forever.
The history in hockey.
Yeah, the history of hockey, and now SGC. That's crazy. I should look at press reports to see if that's the case. But
So, and then drilling down a little bit further, when you look at the top sports cards submitted for grading, they also drill down to top athletes, which there were no hockey players. But Troy, we do have one hockey card in the top 10 of most cards submitted for grading. Do you want to take a oh yeah, you already gave it away.
I already knew who it was. I already looked.
Can you believe this? This was you would have never guessed this in a million. I mean, you might have guessed the player, but not the
I
card.
never got the card. No way would I got the card. I would have thought it, but now I start doing the math in my head in the day. It's probably wouldn't have made sense. But I just said the Connor Bedard holding his finger up card, basically.
Yeah,
but that timing doesn't work. I don't think
it is a Connor Bedard card. It is not the Series 1 Easter egg.
Yeah.
Which is probably good because if it was, it would mean that there's really a lot of those cards. But it's his 2023 Upper Deck Game Dated Moments number 1. So the first Game Dated Moments card of the year was the 7th most sports card graded in the month of November.
Wow.
A Connor Bedard Game Dated Moments card.
Yeah, nothing can surprise us anymore. Or actually, it will surprise us, but nothing should surprise us about Connor Bedard in this hobby right now.
So last month, about 700 of these were graded, and now to date, in total, 1,839 have been graded with PSA. The PSA 10 pop count on this card, Troy, is already 882.
Wow.
Has a gem rate of 48%.
And these are the game dateds are like the print on demand, right? Is that
it's like the Tops Now. It's Upper Deck's equivalent to Tops Now. And we could have probably looked. I didn't take the time. I think Upper Deck publishes the print run, very similar to what Tops does for Tops Now. Would have been interesting to see what that kind of came out at. All right, to finish up hobby news, we just got 3 or 4 kind of our quick hitters in news and notes. So Troy, Patrick Kane scored his first goal as a Red Wing last night, Saturday night. It was his second game with the Red Wings. He notched a power play goal, assisted by old buddy, his old chum from the Blackhawks, Alex DeBrincat.
Oh, DeBrincat.
Yeah, it was a nice little. Do you see the goals? A nice little snipe.
Yeah, I did.
It is good to see him back on the ice and scoring goals.
Yes.
Very, very good thing. Red Wings did lose the game, though, 5-1 to Ottawa. And so for our next story, our quick hitter, we're going to stay with that game. And did you see the hit on Dylan Larkin by the Senators' Matthew Joseph, Troy?
I did. And
what's your comment on it? Or what's your dirty, clean?
So I know those two have a history. I'm going off of like Paul Bissonnette tweets and stuff, and then responses to that, and then trying to look at other stuff. So
yeah, he got like crucified on Twitter.
Well, I get his point though, but he's kind of he knows. I mean, the two players that had the interaction, Larkin and so had a history. And I think at the one point Larkin tried to club the guy like a while ago in a game, like literally tried to sucker punch him. I didn't think the play looked malicious. I think it was. I think I'd lean towards the Bissonnette, like it was kind of accidental, maybe not, but I don't think he was malicious. But boy, it was the right angle, and then when he gets pushed down into the other guy, that's coming
Yeah.
in and hits him. Maybe there was intent. I didn't see it like that, but it could have been, and it didn't look good at all. I mean, he was out, just done. And what's really interesting, if you watch the hit, it really doesn't. I mean, I hate saying this, it doesn't look that bad when you see it in full motion, but
I was
it's
just gonna say that it looks like kind of the typical cross-check business that you see around the net
yeah,
100 times a game, but he was out by the time he hit the ice, he was, like,
yeah.
asleep.
It. I mean, you can say that all you want, but it hit the right. Yeah, like it didn't look that bad, but it was bad. It always
Oh,
reminds
yeah.
me of the Dale Earnhardt crash in NASCAR. Now I don't know how many NASCAR people we got here when that happened. It like, oh, that didn't look that bad. And then you remember he was going in 200 miles an hour. It's
Sure.
like, and there's all that. Just there's so many weird things that can happen with the body. So I'm glad he was skated off. How about the didn't was it David Perron that cross check he threw like
Yeah, like, to
after he's
retaliate
gonna be
against
gone. And that was like that's a 5 to 10 game suspension for
I
that
already
one. That
saw
was
that he's been invited to a meeting with the
has he
league
okay.
office.
That was I get it. You got to protect your guys, but I've been reading a lot of too about there just seems like there's this whole retaliation mentality in the league right now that wasn't there in the past, and it just seems kind of nuts. Like even clean checks. I've talked about this on the
Yeah.
show before. Clean checks feels like you have to retaliate. It's like, well, a clean check's a clean check. This was obviously not clean. This
Well, that
was
was, like, the whole torts comment last week,
yeah,
right? Wasn't he saying
yeah,
that? That
torts, yeah,
every now and then there has to be a fight every time there's a clean
yeah.
hit in the
Like I see why this one led to like what it did. I mean, this is scary. And I do get
Oh, super scary.
I get freaked out when they start fighting around the guy that's like down on the ice. It's like all it takes is someone to step on him or fall on him to make it worse.
Kind of a really rough week for Larkin
Yeah.
too. He's having a great season, but did you see earlier I don't wanna at the time or well, a couple of shows ago, I think there was news stories floating around that he and his wife shared that they had lost a baby. She was
Oh,
pregnant.
jeez.
So, yeah, and then go through that and now this. Now, very fortunately, according to ESPN's Kevin Weeks, they did a whole bunch of scans. All those came
Yeah.
back as negative. You would assume something like a concussion or something like that. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing he'll be out a few games, and there's no timeline for his return. But very scary. Hate to see that. It's the worst part of hockey
Yeah.
when people get seriously hurt. Well, speaking of scary injuries, we got one more to talk about here too. The Columbus Blue Jackets Boone Jenner is expected to miss 6 weeks due to a fractured jaw
Ugh.
he suffered after being hit in the face by a shot from teammate Ivan Provorov in their 5-2 win over St. Louis Friday night. Here's another guy's having I mean, he had the whole like kind of caught in the crosshairs with the whole thing this summer and the photos and being the captain of the team,
Yeah.
having to stick up with the whole Babcock kind of situation. But
Oh, I just watched it. Oh. Ugh.
brutal.
It's not that bad looking like right away, but you know he got hit. Like he's like literally in front of the goalie screening. The shot comes from the high slot and it just drills him right in the job. He skates off immediately, so it didn't knock him out or anything. But ooh, I bet that didn't feel good.
And so somebody asked this weekend, one of the parents at my daughter's hockey game. I don't know how we weren't talking about Boone Jenner, but we were talking about the fact
Were
that
you at?
NHL players don't wear face masks. And I told them that you had told me at one point that there's like a legit reason for it, but I couldn't remember what it is. So what is
No,
the
I
reason?
can't. Now that you said that, I was like, yeah, there was a legit reason for it. And was it peripheral vision or something like down into?
Maybe it's something like that.
Yeah.
God, I just getting hit in the jaw with a slap shot and a hockey puck is not anywhere close to the list of things I'd love to have happen to me.
No.
And I just don't know why that they don't wear face masks, but that's just me. Again, yeah. So hopefully he heals up quickly. A lot of milkshakes, I'm sure, in his future over the next few weeks. Last, kind of our news and notes is your guy Ovi Troy
Yep.
got to 1,500 points. On Thursday night, Ovechkin recorded a secondary assist and became the 16th player in NHL history to record his 1,500th career point. He has not scored a goal, though, in 8 games. And only 3 times in his career has he held without a goal for 9 games. I think 9 games is the longest
Hmm.
stretch. In 24 games played this season, Ovi has 5 goals, currently pacing for just 17 on the season. So it's who's going to win the scoring race between him and PLD
No.
following that. Yeah, very closely on bated breath, Troy.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, the struggle has been very real for OV.
Yeah, I think every day that goes by, the more the percentage increases that he's not going to reach Gretzky's goal record.
And again, you went on record, right? Kind of saying that you think that this is not an aberration, but more of just a guy got old, right?
Yeah, I think it's just old. It's hard to be an elite athlete for this long, especially in this game where you get beat up constantly every night.
Real quickly, looking at Ovi's Young Guns values, he's a 2005 Young Guns, PSA 10 pop 1,183, 38% gem rate, last sold for 4,055 US dollars on December 7th, actually up 14% in the past month.
Oh,
Still down 20% over the past 3 months.
yeah, makes sense.
We're going to switch gears, Troy, and kind of get into our headline, I guess, for this for today's
Yeah,
show. Want to talk about the new Young Guns parallels. I think this was suggested by somebody, maybe in our Discord,
yeah, I think
maybe
so.
on Instagram. So sorry if I'm not giving you credit. I just slips in my mind who did it. Really good idea though, and I think it's timely. We're about 2 months now
Yep,
since Series One came out. It was a banner release for Upper Deck for a number of reasons. Number one, they a huge configuration change, going from
yep,
24 packs to 12, but increasing hits from 24 per box to 36. So three base or wait, no,
three
nine base,
inserts.
three chase
Yep,
is kind of the way that they put it. But even the bigger change in the configuration was the Young Guns. We said goodbye to our old buddy, the French parallel,
yep,
not just for Young Guns for base, and also bid adieu to the clear cut exclusives while adding four new Young Guns cards. Of course, the Deluxe 250 or Auto 250, the Outburst Silver, which is unnumbered, but according to Upper Deck, and makes sense, kind of replaced the French variant. So, however rare the French was, is kind of the same odds that Outburst Silver has. Then the Outburst Red out of 25, and then the Outburst Gold 101. So, in speaking with Billy Celio from Upper Deck, who's the
yep,
product manager for Flagship, he had said that because we had asked him, well, because when's the last time we had a significant change to
yep.
flagship configuration and the Young Guns checklist and parallels? And he couldn't remember if it had ever happened, and certainly not in the
Hmm.
time he's been at Upper Deck, which I think is like 10 years or something like
Yeah,
that. So it was a big deal when all this went down, and people are adjusting to it. Right off the bat, we tracked some sales and we did some value ratios early on. We got a lot of good feedback for a post we did there. But that now, well, that was super early. The dust has
yep.
settled a little bit. We've had even more sales come in, and is it possible now to get an early read, Troy? This new strategy, the new configuration, and particularly the new Young Guns parallels, is it working? Has it been a success for the Upper Deck and for the hobby? So we're going to try to do that. We're going to try to gauge the success of the new parallels. And then first thing I had to do is try to figure, well, how do you measure that? How do you figure that out other than just your and my opinion? Um, which we certainly value, but who knows if anyone else does. And I kind of settled on, well, I think that you should always try to do your best in quantitative measurements, right? So looking at numbers and data, and then try to throw in some qualitative measurements too, just sort of a general sense of the vibe and how the hobby feels about these new Young Guns parallels. So we're going to look at the data first. And again, Series 1 was released on October 16th. So Troy, just looking at first at the Young Guns Outburst Silver, there's already been 1,269 sales on the secondary market for this Outburst Silver parallels. And I trying to figure out, well, what does that mean? Right? Is that good? Is that bad? Is that more? Is that less? And really hard to kind of figure out.
Hmm.
The closest kind of thing I could do is I went back to Series 1 of last year, right? We said, well, the Outburst Silver kind of replaced the French variation. And I took the same time period that had to adjust the days because the product came out on November 9th last year. And during the sort of same initial, basically 2 months, there were 460 Young Guns French that sold on the secondary markets compared to in the series one of this year,
Hmm.
1,269 Alper Silver. Now, again, it's not apples to apples. It's two
No.
different cards. It's French, it's silver. And then one of the biggest determinants on how much a card sells, of course, is the player's name on it
Yep.
and the checklist. And so you have to factor that in too. But I would take that as a pretty positive sign. I mean, almost three times as many Alper Silver have sold as Young Guns French. Wouldn't you?
Definitely. I can't remember what the exact checklists were, but 3 times more. It seems like a pretty good directional indicator that these are doing better than the French.
Then the next card I wanted to look at is the new Young Guns Deluxe out of 250. Brand new card. Highest numbered Young Guns. There's been 336 that have sold on the secondary markets since Series 1 was released on October 16th. This one is harder to figure out. Is that good, bad? Do people like it? Do people not? So there's 50 cards on the checklist and 250 of each one. So there's 12,500 in total that were printed in Series 1. And 336 have sold in the secondary markets. I honestly don't know what that means. I mean, we're gonna look at the values ratios in a second. I think that's probably the
Yeah.
best way, but honestly, like 336 seems a little low to me. Like, wouldn't you have assumed more would have sold by now?
It does
Or
seem low, and I was trying to figure out maybe it's something to do with how you search for them, but I did a couple variations, and that's the thing that's right around that number. So I don't know. That does seem low though.
the only kind of comparative I thought was, well, how many exclusives out of 100 have sold?
Yeah.
And there's already been 178 of those that have sold.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Okay.
maybe proportionally it is sort of, I don't know, but yeah, don't know there. Then you look at the numbered outburst parallels. So you have 90 outbursts red out of 25 that have sold, and then three outburst 101 have sold. None of the 101s have been for key rookies. And I think
Okay.
if you look at the average values and how they compare to the other
Yeah.
ones for the reds, because again, those are pretty limited. So that kind of puts us back to the ratios. So again, we first looked at the values ratios about 2 weeks after Series 1 release. And now, just short of 2 months, we've had a number more sales. So I thought it would makes sense to go back and redo those and see if the pictures changed at all or if they're clarified or got murkier in some way. And we're going to look again at four of the most popular young guns from Series 1.
Yep.
So the first guy, again, is our guy, Matthew Nyes, Roll the Boat, Go Gophers, Skyuma. Right. And so his base now is it's down a little. I think it was like $42 was averaging a couple weeks after release. As expected, it's down a little bit. It's about $35.85. And again, not going to go through all these because it's so much data, but
Yeah.
I think the important things are that the Outburst Silver is about 2.7 times multiplier over base.
Yep.
Deluxe is about 4.7. Clear Cut 5.5 multiplier. Exclusives out of 100, 10.1. He doesn't have any outbursts out of 20 red out of 25 sales, but he does have a high gloss out of 10. That's a 74.3 times multiplier.
Yep.
To me, and it was actually, if you look at the numbers when we did this the first time, they didn't change much.
Mm.
And you'd want to see that, they like for me to like think that there's an issue with one of these cards would be like, for instance, if the deluxe 250 was selling for less than the outburst silver,
Yeah.
and you'd be like, oh gosh, nobody cares, or if it's selling equal or something like that. But
Yeah.
again, there's so many variables. You have to factor in the player, of course, and how he's playing currently. But I guess, kind of as you'd expect, right? Or hope for. Then looking at Luke Hughes, he has his base Young Guns is actually up a little bit, so which makes sense. He's been playing super well. He's part of the vaunted Hughes family that we've
Yep.
talked about to great length. His outburst silver again, 2.4% or 2.4 times multiplier over base, which was 2.7 for Matthew Nyes. His deluxe out of 250 is 4.5 multiplier, clear cut 5.1 multiplier, exclusives out of 100, 10.2. He does have some outburst red sales, about a 22.6 times multiplier.
Yep.
No high gloss, or the 101 hasn't sold either. So again, I think kind of in line with what you'd expect.
Yep.
Moving on to Devin Levi, who was in the NHL and back to the AHL, now back in the
Yep.
NHL. Played pretty well, I think, coming back too. $19.52 is the current base Young Guns value. These are all US dollars too, by the
Yep.
way. 2.7% Outburst Silver's multiplier, or not 7%, 2.7 times multiplier for Outburst Silver. So again, it's very consistent too.
Yeah.
Does that surprise you that it's or no? I mean,
The
is that
market works,
human
baby.
nature?
I guess the human nature, the market works. I'm pretty fascinated how these numbers are falling almost right in line for each of these guys. We'll see. You have a summary slide at the end, I believe.
Yeah. And then deluxe out of 250, 4.3 times multiplier, clear cut 7.9 times multiplier, exclusives out of 100, 14.8 times multiplier, and then outburst red out of 25, 36.3 times multiplier. No sales of high glass, no sales of 101. Last guy, I switched up. We went with Askarov, but I think Dustin Wolf has been a little
Yeah.
hotter. He's hot right now. 1267, his base Young Guns going for right now. Outburst silver, 3.4 times multiplier. Deluxe out of 250, 6.5 times multiplier. Clear cut, 12.7 times multiplier. Exclusives out of 100, 17.3 times multiplier. Outburst red, 39.5 times multiplier. And then I must have an error on the 86.5 times multiplier on the high gloss. And then so that gets us to our recap where, yeah, I mean, everything's really consistent, which almost, and I guess the one thing that maybe coming into this whole new slate of Young Guns is this deluxe 250, and where would the values kind of fit in,
Yeah.
particular with the clear cut.
Yeah.
And it's not as valuable as a clear cut, folks. Not really even all that close, right? I mean, a clear cut is definite. Well, I guess maybe in the case of Nyes and Hughes.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at Wolf is probably going to have a little higher numbers just because I'm guessing he just trying to think. I had a good thought, and then it was like, since he's more a recency young guy goalie, that maybe that's what's pushing him up a little for the hype train. But
Well, I think with some of these goalies too that are going back and forth between the NHL and the AHL, like what I try to do with all of these is I try to use the last 5 sales average. So
oh,
not just
gotcha.
to go out the most recent sale to protect against any sort of outlier sale,
Yeah.
high or low. And these goalies that are going like NHL to AHL to NHL, you can kind of see when that happens. It's like their values will be high and then they'll tank for like 2 weeks and then they'll come back up,
Yeah.
right? Because that's just, I think, the way human nature
Yeah.
works. But again, I think the biggest takeaway in this is that there's no like, whoa, this is weird
Yeah.
kind of outlier in the new cards. They're like you said, they're sort of like slotting in exactly
Yep.
almost where you would expect. So that again brings us back to the question: the new Young Guns parallels, are these a success, and what can we learn from the quantitative part of it? And I would say, yeah. I mean, it is. I mean, it seems to be
Yeah.
working
Yeah.
as you would expect in the market. So, any other thoughts that you have on sort of looking at the numbers side of this?
No, the consistency it kind of amazed me, but it should be how it is, right? This is how our market should work, and this is why
Yeah.
people look at comps. This is exactly why people look at comps, because they want to find out what these ratios are. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's a lot of work. Good job.
Then we wanted to go to more of the qualitative side, and I
Yeah.
thought, well, other than us blowhards, just speaking out of our butts, let's get kind of try to see what the hobby thinks.
Yeah.
And so I put up 4 questions on Instagram polls over the weekend. And for the first one, Troy, I just thought, well, let's just go with the $64,000 question, right? You know, have the new Young Guns parallels been a success? Ask the hobby. We got a few hundred responses, maybe
Yeah.
300, something like that. So good amount of responses, and 61% say yes. So I think that's as far as polling goes, that's pretty good news for Upper Deck, and that
I would
the hobby generally likes it.
love to know the age breakdown of that. If this is like 50
Why
and
do you say that?
older, are the older guys are like no, and the young
Yeah.
guys are like yes.
The old guys that don't like change. Is that what
Yeah.
you're saying?
I'm just curious.
Now, this next one is really interesting. So we've talked already about how the Outburst Silver sort of de facto replaced the French variation. So I asked,
Yeah.
I said Alper Silver replaced French. Which is better? Alper Silver French variation. 73% like the Alper Silver over
Yeah,
French.
I think I do too. And the one problem I had with French just recently, it's like they
Hard to
almost got
tell.
missed. Like you'd go through your pack and let's see in the June loops or what, and not the young guns, those were easier to find, but the base cards with the French were kind of hard to find sometimes, which one it was.
I agree. It was a little subtle. Now, I'm not saying they should have put like a beret, a baguette, and a cigarette in their mouth and something like that and said, "Oh, young on the French," right? But yeah, it was very very subtle, easy to miss in a lot of cases, but overwhelmingly people like the Alper Silver,
Yeah.
which I agree with as well. Then, so the other thing I was kind of curious about is you have this sort of this nice little group of outburst cards. You have the silver, red, and gold, and then you have the deluxe, which is basically an extension of high gloss and exclusives. So the next question I asked is, what was the better edition, the deluxe out of 250 or the outburst parallels? 61% said outburst parallels, compared to 39% of collectors in the hobby thought the deluxe 250. Now, does this one surprise you at all?
Hmm. I don't think so. I think I can lean this way. The outbursts are kind of cool. I like those.
I do too. Last question I asked is, are there too many Young Guns parallels? This was a multiple choice. Well, it's three options. No,
Yeah.
there's not enough. There's a perfect
Give me
amount.
give me all the young
And
guns.
yes, there's too many. So too many at 54%, perfect amount at 41%, and no, not enough at 5%.
This one
I'm
surprised
actually
me.
it did.
This one surprised me. Too I didn't think over half would say too many. But once you see it laid out, I'm gonna go back one of our slides here. Off the top of my head, it doesn't seem like there's this many, but there's one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. And then if you want to throw in a canvas here and there, that's nine. And
So there's
you
two
keep
canvases, right? There's
yeah.
canvas black and
Yeah, so you can keep going down this list. This is just the young guns, the base or whatever with the parallels. But man, I don't know. I love the variation, but maybe there is. I don't know. I still struggle on this one if I think there is too many. But I don't want to get rid of any of them. That's the problem.
well, I have a Monday morning quarterback type question
Okay.
about that. That's totally along those lines. I have been thinking ever since I started really digging into the data. All right, go back to that, Troy. That was a
Okay.
good. I like that you were on
All right.
that recap.
Here we go.
Do you think that at this point the deluxe out of 250 is necessary?
Well, that's the one. If you're going to ask me to cut one, that's probably the one I take out.
You can't get rid of clear cut because this
No.
is awesome and awesome.
Yeah.
Everybody loves those. The exclusives out of 100 and high glass are. I mean, those are storied.
Yeah.
Those are Hall of Fame type
Yeah.
hockey cards. Oh man, should there be a Hall of Fame for hockey cards?
That's our
Off-season project, Roy.
there you
Which
go.
we
We'll put it
always
on the
say and we
web.
never do.
Yeah, we'll put it on the website. Gongshow Hockey Card Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
We'll have all different categories. Oh, it'll be fun.
People really hate us then. Pick all OPG cards for the Hall of
Yeah.
Fame. Yeah, that's a one that I think.
Hmm.
I just don't know. Is it totally like? Does it help or hurt? Right, the case of a player's young guns, where it's like, do we need that many? So, how many total numbered cards are there? So, there's 250 and 100. That's 350 plus 25 is 375.
Is it 386?
85 with high glass, 386.
Yeah.
Total numbered young guns for a player.
And we know clear cuts are pretty rare too, right? Like those aren't.
I think there's pack odds. Yeah.
Oh, is there? Okay. So yeah,
I
maybe
wonder
the
if they're more
deluxe.
rare than. Well, it would be hard to know because they
Yeah.
don't disclose print runs out of 250. But
All right, so we're good. We're gonna vote to get rid of the deluxe. Is that what we're saying?
well, for Monday morning quarter, that's so. There's two kind of things I might think about if I was to make further changes. It's like, why? I don't think they're going to get rid of the deluxe next year. I think they're committed to the bit for probably a good 3 or 4 year run. I
Oh
would
my God, we
assume.
forgot. You know what we forgot? Speckled rainbows. We forgot all those at the E-Packs. Just when we're talking about all the different.
Yeah.
I'm not saying put it on this list. I'm just saying when you think about all the variations, there's those you got to think about too.
Yeah, silver foil and speckle rainbows.
Yeah.
So wait, so you had how many are here? Did we decide 9?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. I might have said 9, but I was wrong before.
But then you have assuming that there's the black canvas parallel, that's 10, and then silver foil is 11, and then speckle rainbow would be 12. So like technically probably well, and then you have acetates, right?
Yeah, there's. I mean,
Those
we're going down a rabbit hole.
I mean, we could be here literally, you know. Okay, there's 382 parallels. Once we're done. Great. So I would think of if I were to make a change, maybe for the next sort of tweak, I'd wonder if the deluxe out of 250 is a card. And then the other thing I was thinking about,
Yeah, I
curious to get
saw
your
this.
thoughts on
Here,
this is
we'll bring this one up.
was red the right color for the outburst out of 25? I'm not saying it isn't. I just don't know if because like that was what gold was the obvious choice for 101.
Yeah.
The silver was a slam dunk for
Yep.
that card. But I don't know if red is so bold and intense.
Well, that's why I think it actually is a good color because it
Okay.
is bold, intense. Yeah, obviously red's not going to match with some jersey. Well, it's a primary, right? Red. So I mean, I think you got to go with a primary color for it, just so you either red,
Oh
green,
yeah,
or
I get that.
blue. But I don't know if I'd like green because that's too cool, and blue's cool too. So I actually like the red choice. I get it won't match with everything, but I do like it's bold. It's kind of in your face, and
I
so
feel like
I'm
I've seen too that people think that green parallels don't really work. Like they don't hold the value
yeah, could be.
of
Well, red ties, right? Red is the power tie.
so the one maybe alternative color that always kind of gets people's hobby juices flowing, but is black.
Mm.
Like a metallic black. Or do you still like red?
I'm still okay with red. I would like to see it like an onyx or what that would look like. That would look. It probably could look pretty sweet.
The other thing that I think will be really fascinating next year is to see like does the outburst background ever change at all? Is it going to be like
Mm.
Dazzlers and be like sort of similar but a little
Yep.
tweaked a little bit different every year, or are they kind of locked into that kind of background? But yeah, so overall, what's your consensus? You think that it's been a good move by Upper Deck?
Oh yeah, I think it's been a great move.
It needed it. It was
Yep.
feeling a little bit stale. Perfect timing with, of course, Bedard coming in series 2.
Yep.
If you guys though have thoughts and want to share about your opinions on the new Young Guns parallels or any ideas that you would have to further improve them, we would love to hear from you. Love to get that sort of feedback. If you're watching on YouTube, please leave a comment. If you're listening to us on a podcast app, message us on Facebook or Instagram and let us know what you think. Okay, Troy, new product releases. 2023-24 Artifacts comes out on Friday, got bumped 2 days. A little bit was originally supposed to come out on Wednesday, so now it's Friday the what is that? Friday the 15th,
Yep. 15th.
I think, when it comes out. So in my mind, this is like the first real big Connor Bedard set, right?
Yeah.
Even though it's the redemption thing, which
Yep.
we'll
It'll
get
be
into.
redemptions.
So the Bedard redemption bonanza by this time next week will be probably in full effect. And we'll be shaking at her heads at what auction prices are at on eBay. Off the bat, too, we should probably mention that it can take a bit to get these redemptions
Yes.
in. So before you go
Yes.
all nutso spending thousands of dollars on Bedard redemptions, or like on the secondary market, remember that I think it was within the last week, Troy, that collectors were just getting back the 2022-23
Yep.
redemptions.
Yep.
So these were for guys like Matty Beniers, Troy's guy Slavkovsky, and Boldy, that crew. Now, that product came out January 25th of this year. So it was, what, 10 and a half months?
Yep.
Something like that, or 10, solid 10 months before they get back. So again, if you go nutty and spend a ton of money on Bedard redemption, you just got to be cognizant of the fact that by the time you get that card in hand, there will be many, many Bedard Fantilli, Leo Carlson, Logan Cooley cards that are already out. And
Yep.
most importantly, they're young guns. And you also don't know what the cards look like. A lot of times these redemptions are awesome. Like I generally kind of dig the artifacts vibe, but there were some like boldy cards that were floating around. Did you see those?
I didn't.
That were they were ugly. Oh, go
Oh.
look it up. Yeah.
Oh, I did. I did. Was it the one that was like a lot of white on it? Like it almost looked like it was like
It looked like a
shrunk.
print error almost.
Yeah. I did see that in our Discord. Yeah.
Okay. So let's dig into the checklist a little bit. So Artifacts has actually a big base set. Well, it's actually kind of two base sets, which is,
Yeah.
and I don't mind this too. I kind of like when you get these products, sort of odd configurations like Synergy with the numbered base and all that stuff too. So there's the, I don't know what you want to call it, Troy, the regular or traditional base set,
Hmm.
100 cards, more of average type players. I think even on like Beckett or Cardboard Connection, they call it like common cards. And then there's an additional 100 base cards that are broken down by stars. So that's 35 players. Goalies, Troy, there's a goalies 20, legends 15, and rookies 30. Now the rookies checklist are live rookie cards. They're not redemptions, but they're the holdover rookies. So
Yeah.
basically the series one young guns. So those are like Matthew Knives, Luke Hughes, Devin Levi, Dustin Wolf, Yaroslav Askarov, etc. Not any of the Cooley, Fantilli, Bedard kind of folks. There's 15 parallels for the base cards in 2023
We're
Artifact.
turning it into Panini here. This is where Panini comes in and they're like, we got 50 parallels for this card.
Very heavy parallel product.
Yep.
The interestingly though, there's no 101, which is kind of seems like we just went from Stature, which has basically 7 variations of a
Yeah.
101 for every base card, to none for artifacts. And then Troy, I almost missed this entirely, but did you see the number 10 out of 10? The name
I
of
just
it?
saw it.
Party Time?
Is that new?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Yeah, I'll look some up.
Look
I'll
for
try to find
Artifacts
some.
Party Time. Is it like
Oh,
the
geez.
player doing the Carlton or something like that? I think I want a party card in the worst way. I don't even know what they look like. I don't know what they're about, but I'm all in.
Yeah, I'm all in too. I don't see any. Maybe they're new. I'll have to do some more digging.
Can't wait to check out that. So yeah, that's the base. There's polychrome, autumn, pink, purple, party time, royal blue, emerald, copper, ruby. There's the plexis are cool. I like the plexis. There's a leather variant for the bikers out there.
Wow. Cool.
Light blue steel.
Yeah, leather. They're like brown. I remember those. I think those are, if I remember right.
Light blue steel. What's the movie Blue Steel with
Zoolander.
Zoolander. There we go.
New parallels are Party Time and Polychrome.
Okay. Now polychrome, I don't know what that means, but I'm guessing it's shiny, right?
Yeah, you're probably right.
Okay, Party Time is new, but waited. I just pray that that's awesome. That's the base. Now we get to the rookie redemptions.
All right,
This
here we
is
go.
where it's like it feels like the movie National Treasures, because there's like foreign languages, there's Roman numerals. I don't know how to decipher what's going on here. It's confusing, and I've been told I confuse easy, so I'm sure that's not a big surprise. Is that a medical condition? Confusing easily? I
Oh,
don't know.
probably.
So there's a set of 50 base rookie redemptions, Troy.
Okay.
There's one for each team, and then 18 wild cards. So I assume like the wild cards would be like if there's 2 good rookies on a team. So like last year you had Boldy and Rossi. You
Yeah.
might want to have a rookie redemption for each of them. Maybe this year a good example might be like the Blackhawks with Bedard and Korchinski or something like that. Now, red 207 is the Blackhawks if you're keeping score at home. So I would assume that that's Bedard. But I also wouldn't go and spend $4,000 on eBay just based on that. I
Yeah.
would want some sort of confirmation
Yep.
before I did that. I'm just saying, but that's a presumption that I'm making. So the odds to get one of these are 1 in 18 hobby packs and 1 in 1,140 blaster boxes. So what do we learn there?
So what
You
did we
want to
learn
get a
there?
Connor Bedard through artifacts, don't buy retail. You're gonna
Don't
have
buy
to buy
retail.
all of them
Yeah.
to probably get one. So then again, now presuming for presumings, Bedard is red 207. The hobby odds would basically be 1 in 900 packs. So rare, but not super rare. That's kind of like a jambalaya or something like that. Pack on instead of Bedard or something. I think there's also an emerald parallel for the base rookie redemptions that are 1 in 130 packs. So you can get a parallel of that as well. Now you get into the whole gaggle of Roman numeral parallels for rookie redemptions that are 1 in 130 packs. No, wait. The odds are 1 in, they're tiered. So the
Yeah.
lower the Roman numeral, the better. And what is that? The first 6 are tier 1, 1
Yep.
in 1,500 hobby packs.
Yep.
Tier 2 would be 1 in 600 hobby packs, and tier 3, 1 in 300 hobby packs. So, and there's 18 total rookies on this checklist. So I would assume that the biggest guys are going to be tier 1.
Yeah.
And those are pretty tough odds.
Yes.
And how you decipher which one's Connor Bedard, I wouldn't. And so the thing is, too, it might be the case, but I also wouldn't just blanketly assume that Bedard is Roman numeral number 1. He
Yeah.
could be. I'm not saying I don't know, but I would want to find a way to confirm that. And you look at all like the cardboard connections and Beckett's, what they say, Troy, is that these will be confirmed at a later date.
Okay.
So I also wouldn't necessarily trust eBay. So it kind of brings up the
Yeah.
question, well, how do you know? And we're efforting to have the product manager for Artifacts on a show maybe next week. So we'll hopefully get an answer on that. It's kind of like an Indiana Jones mystery, isn't it?
Yeah. It's Roman
Dr.
numerals.
Jones, Dr. Jones. Do you have any clue what these means, or are you just lost like me?
I have no idea what it is.
'Cause I think I remember like when Kaprizov rookie year, he was like number 11, or I don't know, because I bought one. I paid way too much for it, and then it was nothing. So I got that going for me. Then there's a whole bunch of other redemptions that are like the base plus parallel configuration. So there's Roman numeral rookie is material gold, Roman numeral rookie is auto material gold, horizontal photo variants, rookie redemptions, more photo variants, horizontal rookies auto redemptions, and retro rookies auto redemptions. So lots of rookie redemptions in artifacts. There's a number of also veteran legend autos and artifacts like Auto Facts, which this year has a 2005-06 retro version. If you're watching on YouTube, there's that. That's one is a sticker auto. So I think a lot of the autos are stickers, but Upper Deck was kind of out front. There are 5 hard signed auto sets. So one of them is Admirable Impressions, which are out of 24. We're showing an example of OV. Kind of one of the things about artifacts is that they've really small
Yeah.
mem windows.
Yep. Yep.
So I don't know. Does that bother you? Is that too small in your mind, or
No, I think for this product where its name is artifacts, they probably trying to get a lot of stuff into it that has
sure?
an artifact or a memorabilia.
Then there's award winners out of 25, or award winners autos out of 25, esteemed endorsements out of 28, signature apparel, which are out of 36 or 12. So these are some rookies. Here's like an Askarov. That's kind of a cool card.
It's gonna
Like
need with
that.
the double
Yeah.
predator.
And then storied scripts out of 25. So it seems like the 5 hard sign sets are basically pretty small
Yep.
print runs on them. Then for memorabilia cards, the base or most common would be the NHL Remnants, which is 1 out of 40 packs. Does feature game used memorabilia though, Troy. Uh, moment of silence for SP game used there.
Oh, you're gonna get us in trouble again.
I know. I'm happy about that. Thank you for putting game used. There's a premium parallel out of 25 too. So I assume the premium parallel that might be a patch, but that would just be my assumption. Then there's cards like you would expect that have memorabilia for multiple players. Like here's one, Tundra Teammates quads. So this one is for the Toronto Maple Leafs, features Austin Mustache, Mitch Marner, JT, John Tavares, and then of course everybody's favorite William Andrew Michael Jr. Nylander
There you
Attilius,
go.
which is his real name. So, oh, that's a cool card. Do you like that?
Yep, I like this. Especially if you're like a Maple Leafs collector, this would be pretty cool.
All awesome patches there in the example. Next is a really big component of artifacts is the Aurum bounty program.
Yeah.
Maybe the nicest bounty card designs in any set Upper Deck produces. Like, I really like I typically like the Aurum designs. Do you know what Aurum means? Like, what is that? Is they make that word up, or is that?
I don't know. I always thought it'd be aura. That's what it just goes. The aurum is the Latin word for gold. There you go.
Oh, interesting. There's 48 bounty cards in Aurum that you need to redeem prizes. So we're showing an example of the Connor McDavid Aurum. There's like typically there's a bunch of prizes and you can redeem for rookie sets, and there's even better prizes if you're one of the first few to finish the bounty program. But I've always just wondered like what on average people have to spend to get all 48 cards. And then you never ever seem to, and maybe it's because that they're just so awesome that people don't ever sell them. But maybe like once or twice in the past year, I've ever seen a bounty reward or award card actually for sale on the secondary markets.
Yeah, and I think they mostly get all redeemed, right? I'm gonna go to the bounty home right now to see like last year's artifacts, see what that's sitting at. I gotta believe they're almost. Oh, did it have? Oh, here we go. So last year, the 22-23 Aurum bounty. There's still okay. The first 2 tiers are done. There's still 5 of the last tier you can get, which gives you 12 achievement set, the 12 card achievement set, and 2 rookie achievement cards. So still that one's still going, but the 2 above that, the better ones are redeemed.
The Hobby Box pre-sales right now are about 150 US for 2023-24 artifacts. That's got to be the most it's ever been, right?
How much is it? 150.
150.
Yeah, that's got to be.
I feel like it was like 130 last year, maybe like.
Yeah, I remember 120, 130, somewhere in there.
You get 8 packs per box, 4 cards per pack. Now the Hobby Box averages, Troy, include 3 hits, autograph, relic, and/or tech insert. That's like $50 a hit. 1 rookie redemption or clear cut acetate. So you're going to get. Now, which would you prefer? Well, I suppose in this one, you want your.
I'll take the Bedard. Take the Bedard rookie redemption.
And 4 numbered and/or base parallels. So 4 chances per party time.
Yep, 4 chances per party time.
So in general, just your feelings on Artifact and now $150 a box. What's your thoughts on? Are you going to buy any personals or?
I don't think so.
I'd be a lot more excited. I think at like 125 or something like that.
Yeah, I'm kind of sentimental on Artifacts. I remember it's one of the first like blasters I bought when I got back into everything. And it was cool. I actually hit a couple of really nice cards, and it was really I have a sentimental kind of tie to it, but I probably won't be buying any personal.
Like your first hobby girlfriend?
Yes, hobby girlfriend.
Okay. Yeah, well, we'll get a box from the show. We'll do some pack opening videos, and I'm sure we'll see, lots of people showing pictures of redemptions.
Yep.
on social media. Hey, we will too. If we hit a Bedard. Okay, got to make a quick mention for Gongshow partner and sponsor PWCC. Very, very grateful to them. Troy, the December PWCC Premier Auction is live.
Yep.
Runs through December 21st. There's 6 cards in this month's Premier Auction, or 6 hockey cards, I should say. There's a lot more cards in total than that. We'll run through them quick. Some big cards. This one, Troy, 2015, the Cup, Connor McDavid gold foil rookie patch auto out of 12. No, do you think that the sort of like the standard rule of thumb applies here, whereas out of 99 is worth more than this card? Because that's insane to me. This is
I
a
know
super.
it's insane, but I think it still applies.
No, we'll see where it ends up. Now, you can't have a premier auction without a sweet Wayne Gretzky rookie in 1979 OPG, not cut by wires, Troy. Don't even start the rumor.
Yep, I'm not.
Stop it. Cut by dull blades. 1979 OPG Wayne Gretzky. PSA 8 with the PWCCE exceptional eye appeal rating, putting in the top 15% of all PSA 8s. Very, very cool card. Nice, sharp looking one. Then there's a 2005 The Cup Sidney Crosby rookie patch auto at a 999 BGS 810.
99.
Auto
Don't
eye
get
out
us
of
in trouble. Don't get us in trouble.
out of 99 BGS 810. One of the most iconic cards in
Yeah.
all the hockey hobby. How about this one? A 1980 OPG Wayne Gretzky PSA 10. Beauty there. The centering on PSA 10 sometimes blows my mind.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's yeah.
But hey, PSA 10 nonetheless. And then this next one I really like. I know you're not a PMG guy, but I kind of like the color match here a little bit. It's a 2015-16 Fleer Showcase Connor McDavid Metal Universe Blue PMG rookie out of 50 PSA 10. A PMG PSA 10. Don't see that very often either.
Yeah. And don't most of these usually say precious metal gems on them somewhere? Or is that just
No.
me not knowing? Okay. That's me not knowing.
I have the base of this card.
Okay.
Hobby break. Then finally, a 1997 Upper Deck Wayne Gretzky game jersey patch auto out of 999. Out of 99. God, what the hell? Out of 99, BGS 910. I'm gonna go out on a limb and just let everyone know I've never liked this card, but I appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. I've never liked it, but I think it's growing on me. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of
Really?
its importance or where it stands in the hobby, kind of the appreciation aspect. But the more I look at it, I'm like, that'd be a cool card, but I'm not going to buy it.
It's an all-star jersey, which is fine.
Yeah,
It's a turtleneck.
Rangers
The,
helmet.
the patches are, and again, I get it. But yeah, it's a very, very important card.
Yep.
I'm hugely in the minority of. I think most people right now are swearing at me through their phone.
Unsubscribing as fast as possible.
Yeah. We have 0 subscribers now, but I totally get it. It's just not. It just doesn't visually appeal to me, and I would have never guessed 2 years ago that this card would be worth a stupid amount of money, which it is.
Yep.
I mean, it's a very, very important card. To see all the cards in this month's premier auction, head to pwccmarketplace.com. Also, try the current weekly auction is live. 444 cards this week in the auction.
Number
Bigger
100.
bit bigger than it's been. Yeah, 444. It's ramping up. Tons of cards in the auction. Again, what I love about the weekly, and we talk about all the time, is you get cards that are pre-war to vintage to modern, ultra modern, the whole spectrum of collecting. On Thursday's show, you and I will highlight our favorite vintage and modern cards in the current weekly. And then lastly, don't forget about the fixed price marketplace where there's more than 5,000 hockey cards right now. You can buy or submit offers on. All are available at pwccmarketplace.com. Mailbag time.
Let's do it.
Great questions this week. Lots of questions to get to. So try to rip through them as fast as we can. First question, Instagram.
I don't know. I'm just going to do this. I don't know.
Yeah. How do you know which players are the rookie redemptions in 2023-24 artifacts? Well, you rent a movie like Da Vinci Code. You have like
Figure it out.
Oh, what was in the Christmas Story? Orphan Annie's secret decoder ring versus artifacts Roman numeral number 12, artifacts Roman numeral number 3.
I wonder if there's a way though. I want someone to write in. I wonder if someone's figured it out or it's general knowledge and we just didn't Google it. But I'm curious. Yeah, could be. But wait till Upper Deck confirms.
If you know.
Yeah. You basically got to wait till Upper Deck confirms it, or if someone actually knows how they do it, or if it gets released, then there you go. But we don't know off the bat, off the head.
I was not completely lazy. I did do some Google searches and I couldn't find anything.
Okay.
So. Next question, Instagram, eBoris91. I was listening to Monday's episode, thank you, and I'm wondering if Upper Deck would audit their distribution because, yes, breakers do buy a lot of boxes, but they typically get crazy hits. Wonder if hobby shops get crazy hits too because I see breakers getting big pulls every night. You want to take this one first, Troy?
I just said I believe Upper Deck probably does some type of audit with their distributions. What it exactly is, I have no idea. But most businesses with this kind of money and with the product they're producing have processes in place to audit suppliers and their distribution chain. So I got to believe they have something. I just don't know what it is. And again, this is I think the gist of this question, right? Getting back to why does it seem like breakers pull all these sweet, amazing cards? I really think it's just they open so much product, and that's just the rub. And we've heard hobby shops hitting big stuff, but I've never seen it live because breakers are always online doing the stuff.
Totally agree with you. I think that we forget, especially the really big breakers, how much product they like.
Yeah, in
We've
cases
heard
on
like some
cases.
like $100,000 in boxes a week.
Yeah.
And so
Yep.
if you're opening up cases a day, yeah, you're gonna have the Instagram post each day with 4 or 5 really big cards, but probably the total amount of boxes they opened is not even close to the value
Yep.
of those cards either. So
Yep.
I think that we lose sight of that often.
Yep.
Next question, Discord MKE breaks. Any thoughts on making merch to sell soon? Well, funny you should say that. Step one was getting a logo that actually worked on merch. So, and we've done that and gotten some great feedback on that. So it's nice to see. We've ordered some t-shirt samples. So here's the thing, and Troy, you can speak on this too. But
Yeah.
I'm actually wearing a sample. If you're watching on YouTube with our old logo, and we just didn't like the quality. And
Yeah.
so both of us, we want to, if we're gonna have merch, we want to have something that's like reasonably priced but isn't junk either. Like we
Yeah.
care to. And I think. Well, you tell me if you disagree, but I would rather sell no merch than sell junky merch.
Yeah. I don't want people to buy a T-shirt and it falls apart in 2 months. That just seems like a money making scheme. I don't want that. I just want good merch because we've had lots of people ask, and we're working on it.
Yeah.
I'll say it's probably sitting there with my button bar somewhere.
Oh yeah, yeah. What's the button bar update?
Still researching. No.
God. Okay. Next question. Discord. JK. Will the new cup have chemical composition? We all loved it. Sarcastically said. All right, Troy. I'll let you take this one.
I don't think so, but if I remember right, Chemical Compositions was one of those cards that just didn't turn out the way they wanted it to. I like the idea. It was kind of cool idea, layering and different colors and all that stuff, but the execution between design and actual production missed something in translation. And so I think that one was kind of not coming back for now.
I checked the checklist. I didn't see it, but I totally agree with you. I love when Upper Deck tries new stuff.
Yeah.
We what's in fashionable or what seems fashionable right now, and we're probably leading the charge in this, is complaining that Upper Deck keeps going back to the well with the same retros over and over
Yeah.
again. Well, yeah, you got to try new stuff, and if you try new stuff, some are going to work, some aren't, and so I'm
Yep.
okay with uh, concepts that maybe don't turn out as planned. Next question, Discord T Olson 70. Is there a consensus thought process on when to submit a young gun for grading? I know the top tier guys typically will go right away, but how about those that take a few years to develop? Do you wait for the card to hit certain comps or when they make the leap to the NHL? Yeah, you're right. If it's a one of the top chases, the sooner the better. I think for guys that you know, kind of make that jump or like William Eklund maybe that make it to the NHL a few years later. There's no harm in waiting on those. And then I would just look at what's the value, what's the gem rate, how confident are you in submitting and make your determination there. But um, generally though, if you don't want to spend if you want to get like the value grading, you might not be able to hit that window if you wait too long.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like I answered the question, but
I don't grade, so
yeah,
or I grade
that's what we got.
very few, so I'm not a good person to ask on this one.
All right, here's one that probably had what the biggest debate I've seen in our Discord.
Yeah, it was
Did you
good.
see this?
Yeah.
Great question by from Discord, 2 Cent Hockey Cards. He said Young Guns are considered the prime rookie card, but I want to discuss one in particular. Teemu Selanne's Young Guns appears in the 92-93 Upper Deck High Series, but this is not his rookie card. Selanne's rookie card is a 91-92 Upper Deck Low Series in the Team Finland jersey. I bring this up because I've noticed Selanne's PSA 10 Young Gun selling for hundreds of dollars on eBay, even though it's not his rookie card. His rookie card in PSA 10 sells for about $50.
Yep.
You're right. So I went through and kind of looked up the values.
Yep.
And I think that once you see the pop reports or pop numbers and GemRate, you'll understand. So the 92-93 Selanne Young Guns PSA 10 lasts over $370 this past August. Here's the thing, though. It's a pop 13 card.
Yeah.
Only 94 have been graded, 14% GemRate. Now you go to his 91 Upper Deck rookie in the Team Finland jersey. This lasts over $38 US. Pop 1,656. 43% GemRate out of 3,896 graded. So you're talking about the difference between a pop 13 card and a pop 1656.
Yep.
Now, is it weird that a year later he has a Young Guns? Kind of. And I'm not going to disagree that the Team Finland's probably his true rookie card, whatever that means to any individual collector. But so you're talking about pop 13 to pop 1,656, and then the other thing I think is material in this is that just in general the hobby factor or prefers NHL jersey cards over international jerseys. So
yep, that's what I would lean on, and it's a very interesting debate because it's one I don't get that too involved or invested in because it's just like I'm more of a collector guy. So if I collected Selanne, I'll get both of them and be happy. But I get it from a value perspective, like why you would think that the true rookie card would be the one that's more valuable. But you do the research and you see that. But I love the question. It was a good discussion in our Discord.
Oh, it's an amazing discussion. Yeah, I learned a lot. Next question from Discord, JVD. Why doesn't Leaf brand hockey get more hobby love? Autos, relics, patches of players in Leaf are much lower than, say, Upper Deck of the same players. You want to take this one?
Yeah, I'm because I'm one of those guys. I'm not the biggest Leaf guy. So Leaf, they do have some cool cards. And again, they're unlicensed. So that's always a dig. And I'm not a big unlicensed guy. But some of the cards are nice when they can hide the fact they're unlicensed. Like if it's a close-in shot and they can kind of hide that aspect that it doesn't have the team logo or the NHL jersey on it. I know people do collect Leaf. There's a lot of people that like the cards. I've only bought that Art of Hockey product, I think. And I wasn't that big of a fan of it. And I think it just comes down to the unlicensed stuff isn't my gig. And I know some people just do not like, he's not there anymore, but some people just don't like Brian. Was it Brian Gray? Is that his name?
Yep.
And again, you'll have that with any company, any hobby stuff. There's always people that their past has some things in it and people don't like him, but I know that's kind of held against them too. But he's no longer there, I think. I think he sold it.
I would say you and I are both in a fairly monogamous hockey card relationship with Upper Deck. We do fight sometimes. We don't always see eye to eye, but at the end of the day, we love them and we're not going to wander from it. Yeah, I just think that if you ask like, why is there not more hobby love? I just think the hobby has a bias towards licensed products. We want to see the logos. We want to see the team names.
But when Fanatics buys the NHL license, we move on to the new hot shiny thing.
We'll see if that happens.
Yeah. We'll see. Whatever. I love when we talk about that stuff, but who knows what will ever happen with that.
Next question, Discord, MKE Breaks. What is the way you keep track of your collection? What have you found the best option? Currently, I'm using Mascot and eBay collection. Any tips? Yeah. Well, I really like Card Ladder's collection tracker because you get like the daily depressing email that tells you how much your collection went down that I barely have the stomach to open each day.
Oh man,
but I like Card Ladders actually a lot, and I enjoy updating that. But you have your own crazy method.
I just laugh because this question reminded me of a meme where it's one of those memes where he's like, so you have a database application, right? And the people are like, yes. And it's like, no, you really have one? Yes. It's called Excel. That's what I use. I just use Excel. I track everything in there. I don't track values. I I might track what I bought a box for or what I bought the card for, but that's all I care about. I need a record of everything I have because I'm not good enough to remember I have this card. I'll forget. So I got to go to my spreadsheet to look at, see if I have it or not.
And you track every base card you own too, right? Every card you get, you
Yeah.
put in this.
Yeah.
Now, what happens when you sell one on eBay? Do you go and delete it from your?
There's a field in my spreadsheet that says in collection, then that gets flipped to a no. And then I'll have I have like there's a column for sale date, sale price, profit, even though I don't sell that much. But
Are you super religious about keeping it updated?
yeah, like that's like my whole problem with my office being a bunch of cards everywhere is I hadn't entered them yet. And so I don't put them away in their boxes till they're entered.
And at what point? I've asked this before, but I still can't go. At what point does like Excel melt down? Like how many
Well, it's in Google
rows?
Sheets right now. I actually probably should move it to I have Excel on my home desktop.
Okay.
I probably just need to put it over there because Excel, if I have the whole thing open, I think it's like 20,000 rows. If I start trying to search for things, it starts to bog down in Google Sheets a little bit.
All right. Next question. Discord. Top Shelf Cookie Sniper 88. Will Patrick Kane help Detroit make the playoffs this year? And what players' card values will benefit the most from Kane's presence? Also, Gong Show merch in the works? Well, we answered that. I think he could. I mean, they were playing pretty well to begin with. And, if he can skate well, and that's the thing with this
Hip
hip,
shaving.
hip shaving. I think that 4 players have had it before him and none of
Yeah.
them have come back. Now he's pretty confident that he's gonna be better than he was last year, so I definitely hope that's the case. But, yeah, I mean, if he plays well, I mean, that only increases the chance they make the playoffs, and then I would think that Alex DeBrincat would probably be the number 1 benefactor for teaming up with Petty King.
I thought he looked great today. I mean, he scored that goal and the excitement, the energy that came off of him. It's like
Oh,
that's
he was
probably
pumped.
what he needs. Yeah, I mean, that's something we haven't seen for a while.
Next question, Instagram, JP Zidane 1. How do you budget card purchases? Do you set aside some of your income each month? For the last year, what I've been doing, Troy, is basically because I have so many cards,
Yeah.
and I've talked before, I'm trying to pare it down a little bit and refocus and get more. So I've been funding I've been very picky about what I buy, and I've been selling stuff to fund all my new stuff. So I haven't had to put really any money into it.
I do the same thing. I kind of sell to buy, but I also every month just regular family finances put money into savings or discretionary accounts that can be used for hobby purchases if I want to. But it can also be used for like a TV or whatever I want or whatever we want.
So you don't have a separate checking account for each one of your 11,000 hobbies?
No, I don't. No, it's all one big pool.
Next question, Instagram, Dusik? I'm gonna go with that. What are your thoughts on Phantom Display? I love their so when I saw this question, I didn't even answer it because I think the first thing you said to me when we were at the expo this year is we have to go check out Phantom Displays,
No,
and
it's
then we never did.
Panther. Panther.
Panther.
Or no,
Oh,
not Panther. It's Pather.
Pather.
Is the
Okay,
Pather.
I screwed that up, but
Oh,
so I don't know what Phantom Displays are, so I'll let you roll with it.
well, I just cracked up because I was like, "Who wrote this? Do you work for Random Displays?" No, they're actually they're pretty cool. They you go there, just go to their website if anyone wants to see what it looks like. But they have these like, it looks like they're more for graded cards, but they're like these really clear acrylic cases, and you put the graded cards in, but they have UV protection, and I think that's kind of
Oh,
timely with what we were talking about before
auto.
with autos fading, and it's 99.6 UV protection on the top end ones. And so that's something to look at if you're really worried about autos fading and you're going to have these displayed or out where they might get hit by sunlight. It'd be a good product to look at. They also do some of those. I don't know what the name of it is. They're not the cases, but they're the outside edge thing. They're like a case, but they only go around the outside, like a frame or something. I don't know what. I'm not
Like a
saying it right.
bumper for your
Yeah, I should bring up their
slab
website.
bumper.
We should just look at their website while we're here. And they also do like video game cases and stuff, but definitely look like cool products. I've seen them before at shows, I believe. But again, I wasn't in the market for it right when I was looking, so I just kind of, oh,
Yeah.
that's neat. But look at the website. It's Phantom Display. They have a lot of cool stuff. Just Google it and you'll find it.
Instagram, Southie Schmike. I know Upper Deck is exchanging Pop 1 cards for 2023-24 Series 1 hobby boxes for those that reached out. But has Upper Deck publicly said anything about this issue? We've actually been asked this a lot, and so I have not heard them address this
I
publicly.
haven't
But
either.
I think by the amount of people that have asked us, I'm starting to get the sense that I think a lot of people think that maybe it would is important that they would do that. Do you agree with that, or do you think
I
that
don't know why
that
you
you
wouldn't.
just like
I don't
every
know.
time you make a mistake, you can't?
I
Yeah,
don't know why you wouldn't address it. Just it's quick. It's a one paragraph press release. I don't care what you do. We all know about it. Everyone in the hobby that follows the stuff knows that there's multiple Pop 1 cards out there. Just say we had to error at printing and move on, and we're going to try to make it right, and off we go.
I'm no psychologist, but I think that it's important to people that when somebody makes a mistake, that you acknowledge it.
Yeah.
It just be I don't know why. Maybe a psychologist that listens to the show can let us know. So yeah, and I'm not sure what the reason is. I'm not trying to be. Would love, hopefully we'll get to ask them that at some point. Would love to get their take on it. Instagram, Tough Times Cards. What legends or even obscure retired guys would you like to see get cert auto card? Do you know what that means? This is
I'm
what happens when
guessing
we don't
like
talk to each other.
just to have autographed cards because I
Like certified auto or
well like
or
any
like
Upper Deck right auto card is certified, right? I
oh,
mean, it's certified by Upper Deck that was signed in their whatever, right? A little disclaimer on the back, or maybe
gotcha.
you send it to PSA. I don't know. That's what I thought.
So you're saying which that don't have any yet. I'm surprised there's never been a Jack Carlson cert auto, as he only has one card made in 2003 after Fleer throwbacks. Never got a card during his playing days, especially with his connections to Slapshot movie and North
Yeah.
Stars and St. Paul Fighting Saints. WHA enforcer legend. I think he's done a few signings, but not many in Minnesota area. This is not. I tend to collect like Gretzky and Ovechkin and stuff like that. You're more into the obscure guys than me. So
No,
is there
this
any guys
yeah.
that you
I not off the top of my head. I was trying to I saw the question and I love the Jack Carlson's a really good one, like because him and his brothers were the Hanson brothers in Slapshot. So I think that's an absolutely great one. I want to take this one back. I want to maybe answer this one again next week, but because there's probably is some guys that I'm just forgetting off the top of my head.
yeah. All right, next question. Facebook, Jim Halleck. I had a friend of mine ask me in a stream to be on the lookout for a blue highlighter Crosby from 2022-23 Series 2, and I see plenty on eBay, but I don't see them listed in online checklists. Is it from hobby or retail, or what are the pack odds on blue? I think the blue is the base, and they just don't say that
That's what I
on
think
the
too. I
checklist.
think the blue's like the what you would consider the base, and then the other ones are parallels, and they're 1 in 192 packs. And I think they're hobby and e-pack, if I remember right. Shoot, I didn't write that down. I'd have to look at that again.
Next question, M. Braun 8. Oh, here's a spicy one, Troy. Who do you think wins the Stanley Cup first, McDavid or Bedard? So I'm going to say McDavid gets frustrated that the Oilers can't get a goaltender, forces a trade to the Blackhawks, and they both win together.
Yeah, oh, wouldn't that be something?
Actually, my real answer is McDavid.
Yeah, I'm going McDavid. I think the Blackhawks are just going to be in a rut for 3 to 4 years until they can build that team up. But if McDavid hasn't won the cup in 3 to 4 years, I think Bedard gets it first. That's how I'll go with this one.
Yeah, they stink. Blackhawks. Discord Braun, have you heard of any other LCS in Canada or the US advising they are getting cut on their
Spicy.
2023-24 Upper Deck Series 2 allocation? I find it interesting. The biggest LSH, that must be local hobby shop in Canada, getting cut to 40%, offering buyback, but no other LCS that we know of has had the same thing happen. How
Yep.
can that be? Do you think it all comes down to this LCS having too high a volume of pre-sale? I don't. Uh, my gut tells me that maybe that's the case. but we don't talk to all the 1,500 card shops, so
Yeah.
it's really impossible to know which ones are doing these. And I don't know if most card shops were as aggressive about pre-selling, and so then maybe we're as vulnerable or exposed to
Yeah.
getting bit in the butt like Klutz and Chara was. But
Well, I'll
yeah,
say I was gonna say this. I haven't seen like the big ones in the US, Dave and Adams or Steel City. They haven't I don't think they've cut back and they're still accepting pre-orders.
yeah.
I would love it if someone listening to the show knows if anyone else got the 40% cut email. I think I saw one person might have said in a comment that their LCS said they got cut. So I am curious because it would
Okay.
be really weird, be very strange if Klutz and Char or whatever is the only one that we hear this from. That to me is interesting, but I would love it if anyone out there knows if other like hobby shops or online retailers have seen this cut.
Yeah, something to follow for sure. Facebook, Anthony Pellegrino. Best way to sell Young Gun sets on places other than eBay. You had an answer here, Troy?
Yeah, I said PWCC, Slab Sharks, or My Card Post. Might as well just throw all three sponsors right out there on this
Lab
question.
Sharks is eBay, but it's
Yeah,
better than eBay because they do other work for you.
yeah. And then I said that, but there are other options. There's ComC, there's other online, there's 1,000 different places you probably could end up selling this thing. My Slabs. However, I started looking after My Card Post announced their deal with Mascot. You can kind of look at that too as maybe a route because Mascot helps list it at a ton of different places, including My Card Post, and it seems to be gaining a lot of traction. But there's so many spots you can sell cards.
I think my card post marketplace has almost doubled
Yeah, that's
since
crazy.
they got like 6,000 listings the first day they were live
Yeah,
with Mascot. It's just
yeah,
crazy.
it's really like you got to see what you want or what you're trying to get out of it, and then look at. I mean, like PWCC, Slab Sharks. I know Slab Sharks is eBay, obviously, and then My Card Post. You can go and find, I think, past sales on all three of those sites, right?
Yeah.
And see just if any of those look enticing to you.
I like what you're saying about Mascot though, because it allows you to cast a wide net.
Yep.
One in an easy way. Instagram, Mike Talks Cards. Do you think over time people will realize a rookie auto at a 199 should be worth more than a Young Guns PSA 10? For example, some of McDavid's black lustrous rookie autos at a 199 are worth less than a McDavid Young Guns PSA 10. Totally get the question. I actually tend to agree with you. I mean, my personal opinion is I would be much more um, comfortable spending the same amount of money on like a lustrous rookie auto out of 199 than a Young Guns PSA 10 that is a total pop of 10,000, right? Amongst all the grading companies. But I think though that and while this is a good example, you have to be careful though now just looking at serial numbered cards because there's so many and they're
Yeah.
they're not all equal. Now the lustrous out of 199 is a good one in my opinion. But we just say like artifacts was there like 17 parallels of their
Yeah.
base and so yeah, and then I think the other thing too is that we talk about this all the time because that there's certain cards in the hobby, the Young Guns, the Future Watch Auto, Cup RP out of night. We just talked about the McDavid in the PWCC Premier. The out of 12 will probably sell for less than the out of 19 or maybe than the out of 99. And I think even a better example than the McDavid Young Guns PSA 10 is like comparing a on a 199 lustrous rookie auto to a Future Watch auto at a
Yeah.
999, right? It'll never sell for that much, right? And
Yeah.
there's 800 more of the Future Watch autos. So it's just one of those things that defies logic, but in a weird way, I think is kind of cool about our hobby. That
Yeah.
it just not everything makes sense.
Yeah. Agree.
Last question is a little bit of a repeat. That's on Leaf cards. I think we kind of talked about this that we're not Leaf guys, but I'm glad they exist. I
Yeah.
think the more companies making cards, the better. But I'm a full on licensing snob.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on Leaf?
No, I know we talk about them every once in a while when they come out with a new set. We'll throw it in new product releases, but again, we don't talk about them a lot. But I should look at them a little bit more though when they do have new products out and see what's going on.
Well, we're striking out for personal
Oh,
pickups.
yeah.
Did you open your
But
stature boxes?
I did. I didn't get anything.
You Nothing?
I mean, I think I got a Boldy rookie auto at a 399, which that might be the base auto, or it's not an auto, of just a rookie card. My autos were, I didn't know who they were. They were so good, I can't remember. But
Did you like the
I
cards though?
I
Like, do you
love
like
Stature. I love that product. Those cards are so
yeah.
cool. I don't even care if they were garbage. They just are awesome cards.
All right. Hopefully we'll be back on the board again soon. And maybe for personal pickups, you need I'm gonna put button bar in right now for you for next week's show. Well, if you like the episode, please leave a rating and review on Apple, Spotify, whatever podcast app you listen to us on. If you love the show, you want to support us, want to be an hockey athletic supporter, want to
There you
chat with
go.
us,
There you
the
go.
Hockey Cards Gongshow Discord server, please consider $5 a month donation. Join our $1.99 support level tier on Patreon. Link is in the show description, in whatever podcast app you're listening to us on, or in the YouTube description. On our website, there's a become a patron link at the top of the page. Our website is hockeycardsgongshow.com, or just bypass that if you want. Go to Patreon's website, patreon.com, and search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. There's also a link in our Instagram and TikTok profiles. And the Hockey Cards Gong Show is on social media. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And Troy, the Hockey Cards Gong Show podcast is a production of Dollar Box Ventures, LLC. Happy Monday. Have an awesome week. And we'll chat with you on Thursday.